about the money.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
He's nervous, y'all.
Yeah.
Don't be scared.
Rather,
no, he ain't nervous.
With
family. With family.
I usually greet in the words of Moyo. It's Chiluba Bantu word. It means greetings, but it's also the word for heart and spirit. So I'm greeting you from the heart and spirit. I'd like to thank you all. Thank Baba for allowing me to speak. And before I even speak, do I have permission to speak? I should. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. For those who do not know me, my name is Asar Imhotep. Some may know me as Ifamuyiwa, Fabimi. I'm out of Houston, Texas. I'm now currently living in San Antonio, Texas. I research ancient African history, preferably the Nile Valley and Congo and Southern African regions, Bantu cultures. My preference is to use language, to study language to better understand the philosophy and thoughts of African cultures and to try to get some insights into who we were, what we created, and how we can utilize Africa as a resource instead of just as a reference. Reference being those Africans did this at this period of time. So more so looking to Africa, asking fundamental questions of life and how to improve ourselves based on the wisdom that they have accumulated over hundreds of thousands of millions of years. And so I hear that Maat is a very big concept in this institution. And so it just so happens that my presentation at the Sheikh Anta Diop conference was on Maat. I'll just read my abstract for you so you can get an idea of what I was talking about. Oh, this right, it's not even in here. Well, I'll just give you the title. No. Sorry, there we go. The title of my discussion was called Maat's Linguistic Origins in Family. Family as the basis of African theology. The ancient Egyptian, or Chikam, concept of Ma'at has historically been defined as truth, justice, balance, harmony, righteousness, order, and reciprocity. It is the central ethical framework that guided the behavior of the people of the ancient Nile Valley. Because of the importance of this principle played in the lives of the Remetu, or the Egyptians, this term was also personified as a goddess by the same name, Ma'at. There has been much discussion in the extant literature about Ma'at, but a detailed linguistic study of this term has escaped sufficient attention. This presentation seeks to fill in the gaps in the extant literature by conducting a systematic linguistic analysis of the concept of Ma'at in related African languages in hopes of expanding our current discourses on the subject. We posit here that Ma'at is in reality a word for family and lineage, and is cognate with the word marry, or love, friend, and has a relationship with a word ma, which means rope, and ma'at, towing rope, or mer, bind. Ma'at as a cosmic principle is what makes the universe a unity. Thus, all created things share a consanguinity. Consanguinity is a word for blood relationship with each other and a filial relationship with the divine. This concept of shared essence and consanguinity reflects a spirituality which invests in all modalities of being with a sacredness and thus evokes not only respect for humans, but for all things. This rootedness in Ma'at and consubstantiation is the departure point for the indigenous African spiritual systems and the Abrahamic traditions of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. So I hope I was clear in this. I usually have a PowerPoint And so you can really kind of see, because in linguistics, you really kind of have to see it to really kind of understand. So I'm just going to give just a brief overview, so hopefully you will understand what I'm saying. The first thing we have to deal with is the pronunciation of Maat. I know we say Maat in our modern English pronunciations, but historically it was not pronounced as Maat. It's more so Malat with an L in the center. And it's very important, and it's not just an issue of semantics, even though it is an issue of semantics. Because Ma'at is really two words. The M is a prefix, and the La part of it is the root. This root La can be found in Chiluba Bantu as Ila. And Ila can mean to lay, to push, to introduce, to make or create something. It also means or is associated with anything that exits from the self, a word, an object, an idea, or sound. And so with this said, in my linguistic analysis of African words, this is the most prolific root in African languages. So many words come out of this root, ila. A few examples: the word God, the word love, the word Heru, as in the god Heru, Zulu, sky, Osoro and Akan, Ola in Yoruba, Olu, as in Olodumare, logic, logos, the word. There's a way we can demonstrate all of this, and of course I don't have time, but I'm just giving you a few of common words that even have come into English from this root, ila. And so you spoke about compassion. I would add into that mix generosity and love. I just recently did a paper or ebook called Where is the Love? How language can reorient us back to love's purpose. That word love has that word ila in it. In the Proto-Indo-European languages, or the Indo-European languages, you pronounce it historically as love with a B sound. But in Africa, it is reversed. You say mer. The B is nasalized into an M sound. Or the B has been devoiced into an F sound. So if any of y'all familiar with ancient Egyptian terms, you know its other variation is the word nefer, which deals with goodness, generosity, perfection, beauty. Now remember this root ila, which means to exit from the self. In the African traditions, what we mean by generosity, goodness, and beauty is you giving of yourself or giving to help someone else. And so if you can imagine your arms extending from yourself. And so when you give to somebody, you do like this. You know, no one gives like this or, you know, whatnot. You give from your center. You know, and so you extend a helping hand. You know, so this is what this root deals with. Anything that exits from the self. And so when you give, it's the same word for to give. It's also the same word for speech. It's in the word medu, as in medu nature, God's words. Yoruba does not have the M prefix. They say odu. So when you do odus, oracular utterances, when you say ede in terms of language, in Yoruba language, that's what this it's that same root, because sound and words come from the self. And so it has a wide variation. But it's important to this concept of ma'at or meri, which means, because L's and R's interchange, the word meri, love or friend, comes from the same root. And it tells you, you know, what your friendships, how do you know that you have true friendships? Because there's always give and take between the two. You're always looking to help each other grow. In the vast majority of African traditions, you have a before life. And it is the idea that you came to this earth with gifts to be shared with the community. It is the community's job to help bring out those gifts to be shared with the community. You're born with a sense of need for everyone, and everyone contributes to the development of each other. And this is what we call love, because it's giving, it's developing. Everything that I do is supposed to add life to life.
Right.
And this is the fundamentals of what Maat is. And so Maat is a living principle. It's an energy that is passed on from generation to generation. It's in this Ila word is in the word necher. The word necher is really just a word for father or mother. How many of y'all have children? All of y'all are nechers biologically, because you've given birth. And you're a part of a line. This word Ila deals with arrange, to put in order. And the word order is a word for basically line. And so like if I'm a general, I can give an order to a private, you know, but he can't give me an order because I rank higher than him. It's a line. And so the same thing when we talk about Ma'at and straightness, it's a line. It's a lifeline that leads from everyone here all the way back through your ancestors to the Creator, which is our ultimate mother or father. And so this automatically creates a family relationship, because in most African traditions, the Creator is existence itself. It is considered an infinite being. Nothing can exist outside of the Creator, which means everything exists within the Creator, was created within the Creator, which makes all things in existence have a family relationship, because you're all brothers and sisters, and just speaking of the spirit of things necessarily, even though we could look at this as a distance thing, but fundamentally, because we all belong to the same system, infinite system, we share a consanguinity because we all share the same mother and father, or mother, father, spirit thing. And so this whole concept of family is built into the logic of the African spiritual system. And so he spoke about evolution. I won't have time, and I'm writing a publication which will demonstrate linguistically that the word Ifa is a variation of the word in Egyptian Kepera. The K in Kepera is a prefix. Ifa is a reduced variation of the word per in Kepera. The L is dropped in Yoruba language, so they just have fa, Ifa. But it's dealing with this concept of Ifa or Kepera is all over Africa. I find it amongst the Dogon, I find it in Central Africa, I find it amongst the Zulus, the same word for the same associations, not just the divination system itself, even in ancient Greece. When you talk about the god Apollo, that is their god of divination. And it's cognate with the concept of an opele, if you know what an opele chain is. They had the same system of Ifa. It's dealing with evolution, perpetual change. How can we find stability in the midst of perpetual change? This is the fundamental question that they're asking. And so there's a old divination was used with a process called augury. And that is, we look at the patterns of birds, and we ask a question, look at the pattern of flights of birds. And so in Ifa, you see a lot of bird symbolism and things of this nature. Too deep to go into, now, but fundamentally, just wanted to throw that out there. And so, in the midst of all of this flux and change in the universe, which is constant, what are the unchanging values? That is truth, justice, reciprocity, balance, family. No matter what goes on in the universe, good character will always be in style, if you want to use that term. It never goes out of style. Everyone wants to be treated correctly. Everyone wants to be valued and things of this nature. And this is what this Maat principle deals with. There's a collagen people in East Africa, they greet each other Maats. They lost the L, the L sound has lost its consonant value, so they actually say Maat, not Maat, but they say Maat. In Chiduwa Bantu, they keep the L, so you say Mulelela or Bulelela. If it goes out, just hit the record again. You also know this term as Ubuntu. It's a cognitive variation. So if you ever heard of Ubuntu, the principle of Ubuntu, you get a better understanding what Maat is. It's dealing with family. How would you treat family? What would you do to ensure that your child, grew up to its full potential? How would you treat your elders in the household? How would you treat your husband and wife? Because that's how you're supposed to treat everyone in the community. Everybody's supposed to be able to be around each other as family. You try to create a family, environment in something like this. That's Maat. That's what
principle of the operating system.
And that's the fundamental thing. And so, I can go on and on about it, but I won't take up any more of your time. But I do appreciate you allowing me to share what little I know of this particular subject. So I thank you all.
Could I ask you a question? Yes. How likely do you think it is that Maat can really be restored in the minds of, say, our people?
First, I would deal with it linguistically. Now, we can say Maat, we understand what the concept means, but for us African Americans here, we understand family, the concept of family, and we just need to reorient, because that's all they're saying. We can say Maat and all this, but you're just saying family. And so you really got to push family, because family is the institution by which the life principle is able to perpetuate itself. So in Africa, there is the creator, and then there are the agents of creation. You would call them Orishas, Abusam, but it's not just quote unquote spirit beings, it's human beings. We're co-creators because we're a part of the system. And so how we co-create is to create other human beings. But you have to create an environment that allows them to feel safe and comfortable enough, the young ones, to develop their full selves and share their gifts, and to help us discover new, more satisfying dimensions for being human.
Salubrious.
And so, this is our fundamental job. As the saying goes, a room is our home, but earth is the marketplace. You come here to do business. And so, part of that business is developing yourself, but as you're developing yourself and sharing your gifts, you're helping to bring out the gifts of other people. And so it's reciprocity is at the center at this. And these are the kinds of things that we should expect. And so these kind of values, you just kind of have to teach formally and informally. Kind of teach them formally, like this is what we do, but at the same time, just be it.
Absolutely.
And so people can
Right.
emulate,
Yes.
they just see how you interact and they just want to emulate.
Absolutely.
And so we have a saying that you can tell the value of a thing by the kinds of relationships it creates. And so when people are seeing the kinds of relationships you have,
Absolutely.
and everywhere you go, you're flourishing, and people speak well about you.
Absolutely.
And people, when you walk into a room, their eyes light up, and
Yes.
people get a good feeling about you coming
Yes.
in. That's the stuff that people see, and that's what they want. And so while we can talk about it, the best way is just to be about it, just become
Be
it,
about it.
personify it.
Absolutely.
And from that, we will start to change. And so it's doing this and things of this nature. But in essence, really just stress family. Really build your family. It don't have to be something just quote unquote super African. Have a family bowling night. Laugh with each other. Have movies. talk about your ancestors in terms of showing old photos and stuff to this nature. Just build that environment of family to where they appreciate each other. Another part of this is allowing, how should I say, to see your neighbor as a problem solver. Teach your people to see their neighbors or whatnot as problem solvers. Because this concept of Maat is not only dealing with just our relationships in terms of our intimate spaces, but even our economy and politics. Because if you have a mistrust for your people, you won't necessarily see them as problem solvers. And money follows values. And if you don't value your people, your money won't follow your people. And so you'll see others as the primary people to help solve your problems. And this is and so you'll spend your money, with them instead of your family. So we have to create not only beyond our immediate family this concept of sense of family, we have to create this in the whole community. And so in economics, you can have an economy without money, because economics is built off of relationships. They have to have some fundamental way of relating to each other before the money comes in, because you can have money and still not have a viable economy.
Absolutely.
And so it's all about, that's all. This is what I've come to understand just in my studies. And all African systems are just teaching you how to be a loving being. That's it. I don't care what else in terms of if you can talk to spirits and all this other. All they really want to do is deal with your character and to teach you how to be a loving being.
Wow.
And so, love. That's because that word Maat. I did a whole paper on this. This word Mary and this word Maat is really the same word. And the word Mary means love and friend. And so, in the ancient Egyptian literature, they'll say that the universe was built off of Maat. Now, we can say truth, justice, reciprocity, but what they're saying is love. And love, again, the concept of love is adding life to life. When you say God is love because it built a system which naturally perpetuates itself, and he has mastered, or she has mastered, this concept of adding life to life. And so for us to be netchers, us to be gods, it's not a scary word, it's just a word for parent. But you have to create a system and institutions that add life to life. Again, I don't want to take up too much time.